What's up, my fellow Degens? What is going on? It is rookie draft season, and I am very, very excited to do this episode because we have landing spots. We know where these guys are. I'm sure a bunch of you guys are already just cooking your rookie drafts right now, but I think it'll be just a fun thing to address, go in here and then just talk about these guys, where they are, and late round picks and wherever you are. Like, I want to know your pick order, and get in the chat and tell me where you guys are in these drafts, and then we can help you and figure out exactly where you should go. Dane, what's up, man? How we doing?
Good, man. Just in the full swing of the real rookie drops, and I'm really excited to get into the mock and see how much has changed, see how we can help people out. And yeah, I'm just ready to play this out.
Yeah. How many rookie drafts are you in right now?
I think my first wave is done. I think currently I'm still in 5 and I'm done 4 or 5 right now. How about yourself?
Yeah, I think I'm in 23 right now. Well, I think I initially started with 23. So as you know, the DGen leagues, we have probably about 15 DGen leagues now. Between, I started with numbers, then I did colors, then I did random things, and it was just like I kept building these leagues, and I had to tap out of a few of them. Dane, you took over as commish for quite a few of them, but commissioning that many leagues, it's like really hard to even concentrate on your own stuff. Like, I don't want to be that content creator that is just doing 1,000 leagues and isn't active in any of them. Like, we know those guys, we know those people that are in leagues, they just keep saying yes to leagues, and then they don't respond to messages, they don't respond to trade offers, and it's probably the most frustrating thing about Dynasty and content creators in general. So to limit myself, I definitely just kicked over some leagues to you. But I think the move that I always go with every year is all the commission leagues that I have. I hit go the second everyone's paid, and it's the day after the draft, because I'd rather get it all done, man. I think it's fun. It's hectic for me. I actually called out of work on Monday, and I just stayed home, and I was responding to 1,000 sleeper messages and figuring out, everyone paid up, and I had spreadsheets and pie charts and graphs. I built a mobile because those are fun to build. I didn't need to, but I wanted to build one anyway. I set that up, dude, on a clothes hanger, and I just figured out, who paid, who didn't pay. I'm still chasing down people to pay right now. I got stories, I got this and that, and as long as you tell me what's going on, I'm fine with it at that point. But I got my man. Okay, I've been DMing this guy. We've been talking a little bit, and I told him, dude, you got to grab Ferg, because Ferg is absolutely value. And I hate talking about this when I'm still in rookie drafts right now, but like, that's the fact that we are in these drafts right now, and everybody listening are the people that we're playing in leagues with. The fact that we can just go on a pod, this is playing on Dynasty hard mode, and that's okay. I like that. I like the fact that I'm about to run through a mock draft right now and tell you the picks I don't like, the picks I do like, who you should pick, who you shouldn't pick. And that's just really, and then I'm going to go into these rookie drafts with these guys, and we're going to be talking about it. But RCN right here, somebody that I've been talking to on Twitter, he DM'd me earlier, and he was looking at the 3-0. Help me out, man. What pick were you on? He was in like the early 3rd round, I believe, and Ferguson was there, and he's in a TEP league. And the fact that he's just there, I think people are overlooking these tight ends, and it's insane to me. These guys are getting DC like crazy, bro. Like, you were talking about guys that are getting 2nd round DC, still going in the 3rd round. They were handpicked to be the tight end 1 of their team. If they're going in the 2nd round, these guys are going to start immediately. I promise you, they're going to get these crazy values. Like, if you're talking about Mason Taylor, Ferguson, they are on teams that don't have a tight end at all. And when we're talking about Mason Taylor, he doesn't even have a second wide receiver to go against with targets. Like, there's nobody on that team. Mason Taylor could come in and be a Laporta this year. And nobody seems to even pick up on that. Nobody's even realizing, like, in this draft that we're about to break down right now, like, Mason Taylor went 209, but I mean, that's still insane to me. Hold on. Oh yeah, Ferguson went 211. So I mean, they're starting to catch on to these guys a little bit. I think we drafted with a smart crew, with somebody that, but if you're talking about home leagues or leagues that they're just going off ADP that is before the draft. And that's what's beautiful about this ADP. Some of it's shifting, some of it's changing, but they need to do a lot of drafts for them to actually catch up. Like the Kyle Williams, the guys that were drafted in the second round, and they're not adjusting the ranks because they can't. I mean, there's too many mock drafts that are already in there. All right, so my man was able to trade back to the 304, 305, Snack Ferg, and Blue. That's good. We're going to be talking about Jaden Blue today as well. Somebody that at all in college, but everyone's really excited about the landing spot. So let's kick this thing off right now. We did a mock with a bunch of guys that are in the Discord, and you're going to see just the standard right here. We're talking about Genty, Hampton, and then we'll pause this and we'll talk about Hunter, Cam Ward. I mean, you can have the conversation right now, right? Like when you're at the 102, 103, where do you want to go, Dane? If you're going to, I mean, people are drafting at team need, but ultimately, who do you feel the safest and who do you want at the 102 when we were talking about Hampton, Hunter, and Ward?
So for me, I think there's a distinctive tier. There's obviously Genty at the 101, and then I've been taking Travis Hunter at the 102. I think that ceiling is so high for him to be an explosive wide receiver. He goes to Jacksonville where, yes, he has competition from Brian Thomas Jr., but, you know, they added Bashal Tootin. They have Liam Cohen. Like, I just think that the ceiling is there for Travis Hunter to hit where it isn't going to quite be there for Amarian Hampton because, you know, he's not the receiving back that maybe gives us those high boom games that we're going to see in our PPR leagues. And Cam Ward is with the Titans, and you don't really know what's going to be panning out there.
Yeah, I mean, the Titans definitely is a bad landing spot. I like Cam Ward a lot. I think that was all the writing on the wall, and that was baked into his value that he was going to the Titans. I think that people are going to need quarterbacks, and he's definitely the best of the class right now, but it's really hard to bet on the Titans developing a guy that has a good arm, that has some good skill sets, but I think is not going to be completely ready. You know, but like I said that about Bo Nix, and I was completely wrong. But I think there's a better system with Sean Payton than there's going to be in, you know, I mean, we're talking about a team that really can't develop talent, to be honest. And I think that really it's not going to change right off the bat. I think you have to be very patient with Cam Ward, and you have to understand that if he's going to make it out of this situation, he's going to become a very good NFL quarterback. It's going to be his own doing, and it's probably not going to be the franchise having its hand and making him a better quarterback at that. I'm going to go through a couple of these comments right now. So we got Derek right here. So Derek just traded the 101 and Leggett for the 105, 307, and Nico Collins. Whoa, baby. That's a dub. I actually have Nico Collins probably. I have Nico Collins like hand in hand with the 101. You know, like I think Nico Collins is, you could make a case for Nico Collins being over the 101 if you are wide receiver needy, and a running back's a running back. Like Genty's going to be great. Genty's going to be awesome, but the window for Nico Collins to be awesome, and people are kind of like down on him because they had the double Iowa wide receivers go over there, but Nico Collins still the alpha over there. I think that's great. You got the 105 and Nico Collins and the 307. I mean, I think just Nico Collins and I just think Nico Collins and the 307 for the 101 and Leggett is like a fair offer already, to be honest with you. But you know, the fact to get the 105 in there, it almost feels like a free 105, which is insane to me. And then we got another guy that rolls, traded Hampton in 27 second for Henderson, Jaden Higgins, and a 26 first.
Smash.
That's wow, baby.
That's great. And you know, we talked about that in the Discord. It might have been Monday. You know, you were saying you draft Hampton because of his ADV right now. Everybody thinks he's going to go and smash at the Chargers, and he might come out a little bit hotter than Henderson is going to come out at with the Patriots. And you said that would actually be a great tear down, is that you could probably go and get Henderson in a first for Hampton and some change. So to see this immediately it's awesome. That's a great trade.
Yeah. This is the equivalent of trading Bijan for Gibbs in a first. to be honest with you. I mean, that's exactly what you're doing right now. These guys are hand in hand in this class. I think they're going to be very close when it's all said and done. And the fact that you can get a first on top of one of them. Love that, brother. That's a good trade, man. All right, let's keep this draft going right now. And I'm going back to the comments because I'm not good at this. I need a producer. I need a producer. If you want to produce a show, please come produce it. All right. So we're at the 104. So this, I love Sheenox. He's definitely somebody that's developed into a very good dynasty player. He's been in the Discord for a long time and he's been in leagues with us, but all right. He went Cam Ward 104. Cam Ward is becoming value. You know what I mean? Like he's definitely becoming somebody. I think I got him at the 105 in a league. I think he is becoming that guy that people are. It's a landing spot, you know, and I don't hate it. I mean, T-Mac is. I don't know, dude. I feel safer going T-Mac. I took T-Mac over Hunter in quite a few leagues, to be honest with you, and I might dunk on myself because I told people not to do that, but I think that we are looking, like I said, you could trade Hampton for Travion Henderson plus at the end of this year or the middle of this year, whatever you want to do. You can trade T-Mac for Hunter plus in the middle of the year. I promise you, you will be able to get Hunter with a plus on top for this guy at some point in the year. And it's not going to be Hunter's fault. It's going to be the usage. It's going to be everything. You talk about Liam Cohen. I went to college with Liam Cohen. He's not an intelligent dude, I promise you. And that's, I think the system's going to play into him a little bit. He's going to get gassed in some games. He's going to be played out in some games. They're going to have different ways of working him in games. It's not going to be like, he's not going to have the same usage every game. It's going to be really game script dependent, you know, like, and I love the fact that Hunter can produce with limited amount of snaps, and he can probably be like a Gibbs efficient player where he might only need like I said, like 15 touches gets Gibbs 25 to 30 points a game. Hunter could be in that role. Hunter could be that guy that he only is on the offense for 60% of the time, and he's going to produce at a wide receiver one status. But like, I think Tetsuya is going to be somebody that is a set it forget it wide receiver one in that offense this year. And then they're going to add pieces eventually. They're going to come in and they're going to do it. I got somebody asking me right now, Hunter in IDP is the 101 by a bajillion. He is somebody that is going to, especially if you get the dual points in that league, which you should in most IDP leagues. Yeah, he is a smash 101 in IDP leagues. Like there has not been a consensus 101 in IDP like this in forever. I think there's no question about it. I think you have to grab him and without hesitation. All right, you're on the clock right now. So let's roast this pick real quick. 106 right here. Travion Henderson, I can't roast that.
So yeah, I went 106 in this mock because I feel that is.
Oh shit! I went all the way back here.
Oh no! So
we'll just let it play out. Go ahead, talk.
So the 106 I think is the end. Is the second tier break there, and I'd be comfortable with anybody that falls. And I was quite ecstatic. I'm you've known me. I've been high on Henderson since day one. So for him to fall to 106, where I think his pass blocking is going to keep him on the field. He might have a slow year one, but eventually to grow with Drake May and the style that Vrabel coaches, I just think that's going to be such a benefactor for Henderson.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think he's going to be the RB1 on that team immediately. Obviously, I think we're talking about Ramondre. That's somebody that can't even hold on to the ball for 2 games in a row without fumbles. So I like Ramondre. I do. I love Ramondre. I'm going to pause it for 1 second. We're not going to have all these pauses once we get deeper into this draft. We're going to recap a little bit, but I like talking about the first round in depth a little bit because it's fun right now. I think Travion Henderson is going to be the guy very fast in New England, just because the pass protection. Drake May is going to love it. I think Vrabel's going to love it. The whole coaching staff is going to see that, Drake May is more efficient with Travion Henderson on the field, and it's just going to be a matter of time. And that's going to be quick, dude. People are going to see that. I mean, they're going to see it in practice. They're going to see it everywhere. So,
and you would know better than me as a Pats fan how McDaniels can work and get the ball to a running back in space.
Yeah. I mean, McDaniels is very good for running backs in fantasy. He actually made Ramondre Stevenson who he is, and he boosted him up from a 4th round rookie pick. Honestly, Ramondre wasn't even drafted in a lot of leagues that I was in. He was kind of viewed as like a throwaway. You can get him off the waivers. So, and then he climbed all the way to for a little while, to be honest. Like, people were trading late to mid first for Ramondre when he took over for I don't remember who they had before, but
that would have been Harris, right?
Yeah, I mean, Damian Harris faded off into the sunset. Patriots always draft a running back to replace their guy a year early. That's what they do. That's what they've always done. They're always going to draft the guy, and then they're gonna kind of work him out eventually over time. Tyler Warren is not somebody I've been seeing as the tight end 1 in a lot of drafts that I've been in. There's RJ Harvey. There's my man right there. RJ Harvey going before Caleb Johnson. And I get it. I think that's probably going to work out for you for a year, but I don't know if it's going to work out long term. We just saw Jackson Dart go 110. Hey, I get it in superflex leagues. I mean, do you like Jackson Dart there?
Yeah, I think after you see Harvey and you see Caleb Johnson go, I'm going to take the security of taking Jackson Dart. He was kind of handpicked by Dable. They traded into the 1st round to get him. He's going to have an elite weapon in Neighbors to throw. And I think that's the value play, is if you can get a quarterback in the late 1st, early 2nd, where we've been seeing them go, that's the play, because they're at least going to have insulated value for a while.
Yeah. Jamie's saying Dart over Ward. I know a lot of people that have Dart over Ward, actually. So, I mean, if you're talking about weapons, I mean, he's throwing to Neighbors, Theo Johnson. Like, I mean, there's some talent on that roster. If you're really talking about comparing it to, I like Ridley a lot. I mean, outside of that, though, who is Restrepo going to be the X on that team? I guess at that point, but I don't know. I mean, there's not a lot of talent on that team. But I say the same shit every year. I say that about Jaden Daniels. I was like, oh, they got like, I was like, oh, Jaden Daniels has got Terry, and that's just about it. Like, there's not, Dotson was on that team at some point. I was gassing him up saying, go buy Dotson. Don't listen to anything I say. Jesus. All right. So we're on the clock at 2:01. We are taking a while. Colston Love. Yeah. So he's been the tight end 1, obviously.
Yeah.
He's got the highest DC. He was drafted before Brock Bowers. Not that he's anything close to Brock Bowers, but I mean, I got to take Colston Loveland, who was handpicked by Ben Johnson and is profiled as a main part of that offense, whereas, Warren doesn't have a quarterback, and well, he does, but we don't even know. And it's either Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones. So I don't like betting on that. I'll take Caleb, and just that offense in general is going to be humming. They're going to have a lot of opportunity. This is spicy right here. So Jaden Higgins is going before Burden.
Yep.
And I'm going to pause this for a second. So I will say this right now, and you can clip it. You can do whatever you want with it. Luther Burden is going to look incredibly silly at the 204 in a year's time. I think that everyone is overreacting to Burden's landing spot. I think everyone is overreacting to whatever they heard. He is just the same as Colston Loveland. I think that you were talking about somebody getting phased out of that offense. I don't think Luther Burden is. I think Luther Burden's going to be the slot guy this year. I think he's going to be the guy that they're they're pretty much working in the Amon-Ra St. Brown role. And I think that he profiles as a Ben Johnson guy. I think that is the absolute best situation that he could land in. The fact that he is with Ben Johnson and he's with a guy that knows how to use him offensively. The biggest fear with Burden was that he was going to land somewhere where they didn't know how to use him. You know, he was going to be like a Treylon Burks, and he was going to land in a spot where they wanted to be AJ Brown instead of Treylon Burks. And it's not the case at all. Ben Johnson knows exactly how to do it. He's a new offensive coordinator, a new offensive mind. He runs a new offense in general. So I think this is incredible. You know, like I would take Luther Burden over Matthew Golden and Jaden Higgins, to be honest.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think this is kind of the next tier from, you know, 202 to 205, and it kind of went backwards from what I would rank it myself. And going back to Burden, like, the Bears didn't really address the running back position. And while I think Burden might not come out of the gates really hot, it might take a little bit of a year, kind of how, you know, they tried to groom Jameson Williams, even though he had some suspensions. Like, I think Ben Johnson is going to climatize Burden to the NFL, and year 2 is when we're really going to see him take off and be those easy out passes for Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I mean, Sam, I love you, brother. I'm not trying to roast your pick at all. This is a personal preference, and it is what it is. But I had this pre-draft, and I am standing on it based on landing spot. I think that this is a fun tier, and I think I can't go against anything that you do in this tier. And we're talking about Trey Harris being over there. Trey Harris is going to be probably the next wide receiver taken. So with this straight line right here, Golden, Higgins, Burden, Harris, this is going to be the the most fun thing to go against right here and talk about when you're referring to the wide receiver 3, 2, 3 at this point. I mean, one of these guys is going to absolutely boom. Matthew Golden got the DC. He's on a team that has a bunch of wide receiver 3s. Higgins is suddenly in a crowded offense. Burden's in a crowded offense. So it's like, you know, I think you can make the case for any one of these guys, but I mean, I'm going to put my flag on Burden, and then I guess we can revisit. But I think Higgins is somebody that I was super high on. You know, I think that he's got that. He could be the number 2 in this offense for sure. And you guys all know how I feel about Trey Harris, right? All right, let's go. Let's see. Yeah. Where are we going? There he is. Yep. So Trey Harris lands there. Trey Harris in a great spot. Bashul Tutin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wheels up on Tutin, by the way. I mean, I think Tutin is going to give ETN a run for his money at this point. I think that you're going to see a lot of Tutin mixed in there. And I think that they're probably going to be a 50-50 split. I mean, and then you see, you know, the ancillary guys work themselves in right now, but I think Tutin is going to see the field immediately, and he's probably going to see half the carries at this point, or half the usage.
You know, they traded up to go get him. You know, I like his durability, obviously his explosiveness and straight line speed, the agility. Like I think that he really fits into that Jags offense and gives them an element that they really desired.
Yeah. I mean, they have an out of ETN this year. So I think that this is likely his last year in Jacksonville, and you see that new coaching staff handpicked this guy. So I think the writing's on the wall right there, and it is what it is. I think you'd be hard pressed to pass up on a running back in this class anyway. So it was just a matter of who it was going to be and how they were going to do it. But I think Tutin's ETN light before the injury. Yep. So I don't know if that's just going to be a clean sweep and they're just going to, you know, phase him out, or what they're going to do. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a trade with that team eventually. Cam Scatterbo is going 208. I love Cam. I think that Cam is a much better prospect than Tyrone Tracy. I think that he's a much better player. And I think that there's probably going to be a change in guard, but I think Tracy's going to be there and he's going to be consistently there. And I think it's going to be a thorn in Scadabo's side. I think they both kind of cannibalize each other.
Yeah, it's going to be a situation where I think Scadaboo needs to come in for the Giants. And I think the biggest knock on him is he goes and searches out contact. And I think once he learns that he takes what's given to him and he takes his hits when they're there, he doesn't go and find that. And he's going to be a more efficient back and he's not going to get banged up and he's going to have more efficiency.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I like this right here. I like this range. This is probably my favorite range right here. You're talking about Mason Taylor and Terrence Ferguson, guys that I talked about earlier. I mean, I think you're way better off fading Warren, Loveland this early and waiting on this right here when you're talking about tight ends. If you're gonna overreach on a tight end, why not just wait for Mason Taylor or Terrence Ferguson, who are in, I would argue to say better spots, especially better than Warren. But I mean, that if you have an athletic profile and you do things pretty well and you produced in college, the landing spot's everything for tight end. And you want to overreact to landing spots. And I hate to say it, but when you have tight ends, you want to target the guys that are the 1 or the 2 on the team. I don't want the third target to be a tight end guy. If you look at every elite tight end in the NFL, they're all the first or second option. There's not like a lot of third option tight ends that are great producers as in fantasy, at least. They could be like really good NFL guys, but they don't produce big numbers for fantasy. So if you're telling me that 2 rookie tight ends are already profiled as the 1 or 2, like Terrence Ferguson, I don't know if he's going to be the 2 option there. It's going to be like, all right, we see Devontae Adams, we see that, but like Stafford loves his tight ends. Stafford loves, like, I think we forget the boom tight ends that he used to produce, like the bums that were like putting up tight end 1 numbers in his offenses. And I don't think this is any exception to it. I think we are talking about, Puka and Adams getting theirs on the outside, but Ferg is going to be in the middle there. And Ferg is definitely going to be somebody that probably gets about 5 to 6 targets a game. And I think that's a great start to a fantasy tight end for sure. You want to just get the guys that are getting the targets at that point and then hope for the best. But, I could see him as being a big red zone target for Stafford right off the bat. And then Mason Taylor it's Garrett Wilson and Mason Taylor on that offense right now. And that's it.
Yeah, it's just pure opportunity for Mason Taylor.
Yeah, I was already in love with Mason Taylor. And then you're talking about like him landing in the best possible spot for a rookie tight end. And that's just based off of, I'm not saying that the Jets offense is elite by any means, but they produced Tyler Conklin. I think Conklin was starting for some fantasy teams last year. I think that was just the desperate world of, if you're in a 2 tight end league, it's really tough out there. You're going to be starting these guys, but Mason Taylor's the guy, breakout rookie year written all over him at this point. And then we got Jalen Monroe sandwiched in the middle of the 2 of these guys. And you're talking about somebody that has a super high ceiling, and you're hoping that he gets a couple starts this year and maybe develops. I don't think sitting behind Sam Darnold is the best way to develop as a quarterback. I'll be honest with you. I don't think that's really what you want to target, as a guy that's behind Sam Darnold. But I think it is the perfect situation that he's not going to start immediately, because you have another Anthony Richardson situation where he's not ready to start in the NFL.
Yeah, he has a lot to work on in the passing game, but if there's ever the notification that we see Jalen Monroe is starting, you're putting him in your starting lineup, because we see that with the Russian quarterbacks. We had Richardson when he could play, like he was running. We had Fields; they were putting up points for us. So I don't think at this range, it's kind of another teardrop where if you're going to take a shot, take a shot on a ceiling like that. Absolutely.
Yeah. You're talking about a late second right now, and there's a bunch of valued QBs that might get a couple starts, that might profile as a back end season starter, that, you know, whether it's injury or just the team's not doing well and they're going to see what they have. You know, I think you're worth it. It's absolutely worth it. You know, like and like I said, this guy is a elite runner. He's a better runner than Anthony Richardson by far. So, I mean, Jalen Hurts was a second rounder, and I don't want to say they're close in prospect wise, but I did sit down with Matt Waldman, and Matt Waldman sees a lot of Jalen Hurts in Jalen Monroe. I think he actually comped him to Jalen Hurts and Matt Waldman's the guy I go to for QB analysis. Like, he's somebody that I trust wholeheartedly. So I don't take that lightly. I don't think it's a joke by any means. I think that if he's comping him to Jalen Hurts, I'm going to listen, and I'm probably going to take a couple stabs at him in the second, third round for sure.
Absolutely.
I don't even know what that was.
That 212 was Jaden Blue.
Jaden Blue at 212. I had to go backwards there. Yeah, I don't think I like Jaden Blue over the running backs that we're going to see right now. So this is the juice right here. The third round with the running backs is like, you are getting guys that were in the second rounds of most mocks before the draft, right? And
that's right.
You believed in their talent that way. The landing spots and the DC has blown it up, but I think that NFL knew what they were going to be doing, and they knew that these running backs were going to all slide down because there's so many of them that they could wait on their guy, and they could wait. And we're seeing Alec. All right, where's Sam? Because you took an undrafted wide receiver over some guys that got the second round DC.
Yeah, so we got to get Sam in the comments and justify this one.
I mean, I like that he's landing back and he's got Cam Ward, and I think that I'm sorry, Alec was drafted. I'm thinking of Restrepo, but I like Alec, dude. I do. I really like Alec. I want to say we're going to see some guys that I think I'm going to take over Alec, though, for sure. There's Shedeur Sanders at 304. Man, I think I'm going to take the L on Shedeur for sure. Obviously, I saw all the red flags with Shedeur, but I thought that was never going to result in him being that much of a slide. But I guess that's how much I know. I really thought that was all coach speak, and it was really just a ploy to push him down. But hey, brother, all that off field stuff and everything, definitely it catches up to you, and you can't have that big head and be that cocky dude that thinks that they don't need, you know. We just saw Shogo before him too in the draft, but he's going a little bit afterwards. Elijah Arroyo, I don't think should be in the third round either. I think that's great value on Elijah Arroyo.
Absolutely.
I think he's being drafted in a lot of my leagues in the third round. But Brashard Smith, I think there's still, like, I think I'd probably take Samson and I don't know. This is the part of the draft that's difficult. I think that's what we have to talk about is all these guys on the third and the fourth round running backs. You know, I think we know where most of these guys are landing right now, but we're talking about Samson, we're talking about Neal, we are talking about guys like James and Gordon and Hunter. I think I broke down my favorite sleepers, and we did a video yesterday, but I think that's going to be a fun thing to address after this mock is, you know, who we like out of that tier and who we want to really target when we're looking at Brashard Smith and Dylan Sampson, you know?
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, like we always worry about draft capital for these running backs, but for me, once you get into the third round, I'm trying to tell myself a story of who's going to be able to give me production. Who am I going to be able to take and plug into my lineup for a spot start? Who am I going to be able to take and flip maybe for a future pick that I can add into a bigger deal? You're not going to see me too often in the third and fourth rounds unless it's an extreme value, me drafting a wide receiver. I'm usually taking running backs and quarterbacks because they have the best path to getting us fantasy points or having some sort of value.
Yeah. Yes, Sam, I misspoke, brother. So I can't wait until you do your pod. So I'm going to come on there and roast the fuck out of you. Yeah, I mean, it's tough because all these guys did get similar DC, and then we have to kind of go off of our pre-draft analysis for him. You know, like I really love the fact that I mean, I like Devin Neal over there. You know, I like Brashard Smith a lot. Brashard Smith is a raw runner, though. Brashard Smith is not a great runner in general. He's a revert. You know, like his body size isn't that of a workhorse by any means. So if you're talking about, you know, hold on, what did I just say? Brian Westbrook. I don't see that at all, dude. I don't think that they are similar at all when it comes to prospects. We're talking about someone that played wide receiver for 4 years and then moved over to running back. I like Smith a lot, but I think he's very raw as a running back. He's got 1 year of his entire life playing running back. And that position isn't just like, hey, I'm going to just go and be a running back after playing wide receiver my entire life. There's a lot of things that you need to learn. His pass protection is non-existent. He's going to have a tough time finding the field his rookie year. I think the guys that play immediately are the ones that have the pass protection. They have the skill set to protect the quarterback. That's what gets you on the field right away most of the time, unless you're an electric guy like Gibbs that you can just get the ball in your hand and score immediately. So, I mean, Brashard Smith's got that. He's definitely electric, but I think there's going to be an uphill battle for him to I don't know. There's not a lot of Pacheco is the only thing standing in his way though, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I think it is the hopium of landing with the Chiefs and being in some kind of a specialty role. And you know, if you're gonna take that in the third, I think that's a little risky. If you take it in the fourth or you're going on waivers, sure, absolutely take that shot. And you might get some camp hype videos and you can do what you will with that information.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about Devin Neal going in the same range. I think Neal as a prospect is somebody I'm taking over Brashard Smith. I think Brashard Smith's landing spot is so juicy. Like it's hard not to just tap that guy in the third, fourth round, but Neal is fully faded in the Dynasty community. He is tumbled from an early second to, I mean, what did he go in here? The late third. That's crazy value. I don't think his spot is bad by any means. Like we're talking about Kamara. Kamara is a vampire, but Kamara also is the running backs just get hit over the head. You know, like Eckler went from being a top 10 running back to just losing all his juice in 1 year. You know, like nobody really saw the complete fall off of Austin Eckler. And it does happen, like Nick Chubb's injuries. But like when you get injured in your 30s, you don't come back from it, dude. Like
That's right.
As a 30-year-old, I can tell you right now, like you get injured and you just kind of live with it, dude. Like Louis C.K.'s got this stand-up where he's talking about going to the doctor and he's like, I got this back thing. Like, what do I do? And he's like, just stretch it out. And he's like, till when? He's like, forever, dude. You just do it forever. That's just what you do, man. Like it's your life now, you know?
100%.
That's fine. That's fine for like your life. But like when it comes to playing football, Kamara gets a knee injury right now and he relies on explosiveness. I'm not wishing that on him at all. I think Kamara's still got 2 solid good years of football in him, but if he does get injured, I don't think he ever comes back to the status that he's at or
no,
we expect him to be. And that's the reality of a 30-year-old running back.
I agree with you. And then what does Devin Neal have to beat out? Right? Kendre Miller, who, you know,
Kendre Miller is in worse shape as a 22-year-old than Kamara is a 29-year-old.
Exactly.
Kendre Miller that's the knees of a 29-year-old, and Kamara's got maybe the knees of a 22-year-old at this point. They have a body swap. I don't know. It's like the Michael Jordan water. He stole his juice, brother. Like I don't understand how Kendre Miller is the oldest 22-year-old ever, and that's just the thing that I would love to see him have some play. I got a bunch of them, and he's played in too many years already. At 22, he's got on my taxi squad, so he's got to start doing something, or he's going to be cut. I think that Devin Neal is a better prospect than than Kendre Miller, to be honest. Like, when we look at his whole
Absolutely.
body of work, when we look at his vision, his patience, the way that he runs the ball, like, he is pretty explosive. He doesn't have a long speed, but Kendre Miller doesn't either. I think he does a lot of things better, and the things that he doesn't do well, Kendre Miller doesn't do well either. So it is what it is. Let's talk about. All right, so we do like Brashard Smith's landing spot. I don't know if I like his skill set to be a workhorse by any means. I think he's still going to be working with Pacheco. I think he's probably going to get you some value. 305, I think I'd rather take a Devin Neal. I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong about that. I think Brashard Smith could actually have more opportunity, but Devin Neal is a better running back, but that doesn't always work out.
Sure. Going back to Brashard Smith, like, the 6 running backs that we dropped last night, like, I think I would rather have those over Brashard Smith because they profile better. You can't just go and overdraft somebody because they landed with the Chiefs. Like, we have to learn from that with the receivers. We all fell for Sky Moore.
Yeah, and I don't think it's all landing spot with Brashard Smith. I was very high on him. I had Angelo on the Brashard Smith pod, and he loves him. He had Brashard Smith as his RB7 of the class, and I think that's probably about close to where he went actually in this draft. I think we overestimated how many running backs we were going to have in there. Yes, Sam, I do see Bond. I'm not there yet, but yeah, I don't think he should have ever been drafted. I don't know who was that. I'm not even gonna call people out, man. I don't. Yeah, Bond is on the waiver for a lot of people and in a lot of leagues right now. I think. I don't know, dude. Like, I don't want anything to do with Bond. I never wanted to do anything with Bond before he had the domestic violence case, and now it's even more so. But he was a full fade analytically, and the fact that he dropped so far down in production. He was a Keyshawn Butte for me, somebody that was valued high and then all of a sudden just died. And it happens. It does. It's unfortunate. All right, let's move it on. So we talked about Brashard Smith. Dylan Sampson I love him at the 309. I don't think he should be there at the 309. I think we're cooking along right here. 309 for Dylan Sampson is kind of crazy, dude. I think I would probably take him. I don't know. Like, I guess it's kind of everything is on there, but like I took Sampson over Blue today, actually. I took Dylan Sampson over Blue, and Blue went 212.
That is the highest I've seen him for sure.
Yeah, I think Keyshawn Judkins has really scared people off Sampson, but Sampson was a prospect that people had as their RB4 or RB5 of this class, and that is something that kind of faded out based off of him not testing and stuff. But he still has the same skill set that people saw when he was, ranked that high. He's still an explosive guy. He's still the youngest running back of this class. I think he turned 20 in September, he is an early declare. He's, like I said, he could play in the league 3 years and still be younger than RJ Harvey right now. Not that we're going to value him that way, but he has a lot of time to pick up the pieces of being drafted behind an elite running back. They're completely different too. Keyshawn Judkins is a beast. He's a short yardage, like he can definitely, break free, and he doesn't have that complete long speed. Sampson has long speed. Sampson is electric. Sampson is the guy that you're going to have that's change of pace. He's going to work in with him. And I think they're both going to have, dude, if you want to talk about a Gibbs and Montgomery situation, that's exactly what we have here. We have 2 running backs that are probably going to produce. I think Keyshawn Judkins is obviously going to be the guy that you want the most, but I think Sampson is going to be a flex this year. And I think he's going to have a lot of value. And if Keyshawn ever goes down, I think you're talking about, you could probably grab a flex in the late 3rd round right now. That is being overlooked because he was drafted behind Judkins when they were drafted together for a reason, because they are completely different and they complement each other with their skill sets.
No, I think you nailed it with that. I don't think just because Judkins is there, you should scared off Samson at all. So I think if you're able to go and get him at the 309, that's a great value, and he's going to be a good complement to your roster.
We got Morik in here. Morik. I love that name, dude. Morik. It's like your parents were like, we don't need more Rick, baby. I love Rick. Let's get more Rick in here. I need more Rick. All right, where are we putting Pat Bryant? And dude, Tesla, I love, man. The fact that they traded up for him, and they're like, we need this guy in our offense. He's gonna be a complimentary piece. He's gonna be somebody that slots in as the wide receiver 3. And I think, yeah, he's going to have value. I don't think it's going to be, I mean, think of the value that you're going to get for guys that are wide receiver 3 on your team. You know, like he's going to be kind of frustrating. You're not going to know when to play him, but he's going to have some boom weeks. I think he's definitely going to be valuable for fantasy. And the fact that you can get him, he went 405 in this league. I got him 406 in another league. I got him 408 in one league. I got him off the wire in a couple of leagues not too long ago. I love Tesla. I think actually he went, in our haters league, he went in the second round.
I believe you're right. And I was going to say, he's slowly started to climb throughout the week of my rookie drafts. Cause I think the first 2 that finished, yeah, he was, I put in waivers for him. I don't know if I got him, but yeah, he's slowly creeping up there. And like you said, if Detroit moved up to get him, they obviously liked his profile and they have a plan to use him.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big, target late round wide receivers. Where did Tesla go? He went in the 4th round. 70th overall. Okay.
Yeah, third
so
round.
I mean, 3rd rounder. Yeah, that's like just on the cusp, you know, like if you're talking about guys like that are going to be outliers, like that's just on the outside of it. I think that the fact that they moved up, like that's the Josh Down range, you know, like, and that's, we're talking about guys that we value more than where they get drafted. And I think that's somebody that we can talk about here. I think Lions value him at a higher rate, but they knew they could wait until the 3rd round to get him. You know, like they might have a 2nd round grade on him, but they're like, well, we're not going to waste a 2nd rounder on him. Pat Bryant, dude, if you're going to get him, where did he go in this one? He didn't.
I don't even think he got drafted in here, to be honest.
I don't think he did either. Hold on.
No, I'm scanning. No, he didn't get drafted in this mock. I have seen him drafted, and that's a guy that, you know, I certainly haven't scouted him at all. But
I would draft Pat Bryant just because of the latest news that pops up when you open the sleeper app for him. Pat Bryant draws high praise from the Broncos head coach Sean Payton. Comparisons to Michael Thomas. So you should draft Pat Bryant everywhere and then wait for your league mates to read this. It says there's comparisons to Michael Thomas. Yeah, take Pat Bryant wherever you can because this is insane. I mean, I think he's going to have a role. This is your team, dude. Tell me about Pat Bryant and tell me about the Broncos.
Oh, man. Like, what else do they have for options? You know, depending how they utilize Mims this year, it's Courtland Sutton who, you know, is obviously the number 1 on that team. But Pat Bryant, like I said, he wasn't really on my radar to check out anything. You know, I understand that Sean Payton is a guy that he's not afraid to go and draft his guy. And that's exactly what he did with RJ Harvey that set the fantasy space ablaze. And he did it again with Pat Bryant. So as a fan, I have to trust that I know what he's doing and he's going to work him into the lineup and be some kind of an asset.
Yeah, so I mean, what are we talking about for their starting lineup? They have Courtland Sutton, they have Marvin Mims, and then they're going to start Troy Franklin. Is that the three wide receiver set for opening? Did anybody see it coming? I mean, Evan Ingram could be the overall tight end 1 of fantasy, and that's just like by a long shot at this point. You know, Evan Ingram might get 10 targets a game,
and that's the question now: is Evan Ingram the Joker, or is, you know, them going and making a splash and getting RJ Harvey? Is that somebody that Peyton sees as his Joker that he can utilize and create mismatches all over the field?
Yeah, I mean, I think Julian McLaughlin is going to get play on that team. I don't think Harvey is he's not a workhorse. Like I love I like Harvey a lot. I think I just see the holes in his game where people are overlooking them because of the landing spot. But like, he's not a guy that you're going to give the ball 20 times to. They're going to have to work somebody else in there. I just can't imagine they're going to give the ball to him. He's not going to be a Jacobs or a Henry at this point, right?
Yeah, and you know how I've heard you talk about him. I heard him on your rookie profiler series. Like, I just have this weird gut feeling that it's going to be like DeAndre Swift, where we all wanted him to be that bell cow back, but he would try to bounce everything outside, and then he would end up losing yardage, or a play would get blown up, and it was always a what if scenario. And I think Sean Payton really has to mold and kind of tutor Harvey into the running back that he wants, and kind of get some of that out of his game, where it's going to be some more north-south action, or you might see Jaleel McLaughlin get a significant run.
I don't know. I mean, he's not good, so I don't.
He's
know
not good.
That's good. I don't know if that's going to work out for them. So, thoughts on Savion Williams? I do like him. I like him like I like all wide receivers that are moved to running back. I think that there's a lot of holes to their game, but I think that they have if they're in the right system and they're used properly, they can be electric, like a Percy Harvin, like it's somebody like that. I'm waiting for the next Percy Harvin. And it's like these guys that are hybrids that can work in the backfield. And then that was such fantasy gold. If you guys are old like me and you played in 2017 or 2016 when Percy Harvin was electric, you had the team of Jamal Charles and Percy Harvin. These guys are the hybrids, you know what I mean? They're lining up as wide receivers. They're running the ball 6 or 7 times a game. And it's like, dude, it's like Deebo Samuel that one year. When you had Deebo Samuel for like that one electric year, and everyone was like, Deebo Samuel's worth 7 first now. Like that is the pinnacle of Taysom Hill being the quarterback in the tight end spot stuff, like that's what you want in fantasy. So if they could roll this guy out and be a hybrid, the NFL is scared to do it. We need like a McDaniels or like a Johnson to run one of these guys out and just like change the NFL, because a couple years of that was crazy with Percy Harvin. It was insane. If you had him on your fantasy teams, you were scoring 60 points a game. And it was just like, you were, dude, you got him. Like he got like 7 catches and like he'd run for 2 touchdowns. And then you're just like, dude, like just the PPR action on that guy was incredible. Yeah. So Morik wants to know Neil or Pat Bryant. Man, I might take a stab at Pat Bryant, but I don't think you need to choose between those guys, do you? Like,
I think
that close.
I think they're going to be going in different rounds, but I see the Stu with the JT Brew, like he's saying he's a Pat Bryant fan and he's going in the 3rd and 4th of his leagues. So you might end up having to make a decision based off some of the ADP that we've been seeing.
Yeah, JT Brew and we actually did Shedeur Sanders last week, and man, JT, I wish we didn't do Shedeur Sanders because I feel like we messed him all up, man. He probably saw our pod and things fell off for him. I think that's what happened. Man. But yeah, I mean, I think I'd probably go Pat Bryant just because of the fact that you might be able to sell him for more, and I think that once you get to this range, you want to go for the guy that's going to get the most value immediately, because it's not even necessarily that you think they're going to hold that value. It's like you can get the guy that's more valuable now, take the guess or just use your educated guesswork, get the guy that's more valuable and then go trade him for the guy that you wanted for more. Like you could draft, if you like Travion Henderson more than Hampton, dude, draft Hampton and then go trade back to Henderson for first, like our buddy did in the beginning of this, right? I mean, and then we're going even farther deep into this, so it's kind of cut off a little bit here, but we are looking at Hunter, Marks, Giddens. These are all guys that we talked about on our special last night, where these are the guys that we're targeting later in drafts. Hunter is somebody that I think we are probably looking at being better than Kyron Williams already.
Yeah. Yep. I couldn't agree more.
If you take their profiles side by side and you look at their skill sets, like I think if you did a blind taste test of this, like you're talking about Pepsi or Coke, I think a lot of people would choose Giddens based off of just the skill set and ultimately the way that he's played. But I think he's going to have a role. I don't know what that looks like, but like Hunter is easy money in the fourth. Woody Marks.
Yeah.
Woody Marks he's playing behind Mixon.
That's it.
Mixon is he had a good year last year, but how much of that was just the usage? Like he wasn't that efficient. Like he was okay, but like he wasn't over like I'm not overly excited about Mixon as a guy that you could build up and build that backfield around for the next 2 years. I think he's probably going to lose some juice this year. And I don't know. I mean, Mixon to me has been in the league for like 20 years, dude. Like when is he going to just fade out? I think he's probably getting close, but that's just, I don't know. That's guesswork at this point. I think his efficiency numbers have gone down. But we also saw him change teams, and there's a lot of adjustment there. And I think that they took this guy to complement Mixon. And he's already the RB2 on that team, and he's going in the fourth round. Fourth round, we're seeing guys that are drafted in the fifth and sixth round going before a fourth round running back right now. He went in the fourth round. And we're seeing guys in the sixth round. When did Brashard Smith go? Hold on.
Seventh round to the Chiefs, I believe.
Seventh round. So we're taking seventh round running backs over a fourth round running back that is going in the fourth round. I get it. You like Smith's receiving profile, but there's nobody in the way. There's Mixon and then him. He's going to already be on the field to start.
I agree. And like JT just said in the comments, Woody Marks was the best receiving profile in the class. That's Woody something that Mixon doesn't bring.
Woody Marks is somebody that can receive and run very well. He doesn't have a lot of holes in his game. He also played against the best competition of any, better than Genty, better than Hampton. He was playing against elite defenses his entire last year. I know he transferred over, but like we're talking about USC right there, like he played against some of the best defenses and produced at a great level. The fact that he could do that has already shown us that he's ready for the NFL. There's no question marks about like the competition and the way that he played. Like, I think he's the only running back in this range right here that played against really good defenses. So I think that's already enough reason to be going after this guy everywhere. I think I would probably take him over anybody in this tier right now. But, to Giddens' point, I love Giddens too. I think Giddens is being fully faded, but Giddens was also valued pretty high, right? Like I told you how much I love Giddens, and you've taken Giddens in a couple drafts, right?
Absolutely, I have.
Yeah, I think so. This is my theory, right? I do not think that Indianapolis finds a winning season this year. And I don't think they are going to be able to improve on last year. I think they've been like 9-7, or like I think they've been like 8. I don't know. They've been right under 500 the last 2 years, or they were above 500 2 years ago, and then they went under 500 last year. And I think that these guys have their jobs on the line. I think there is a very real possibility that we see. Who's that, Steichen over there? I think that we're looking at Steichen. Yeah, we're looking at Steichen getting moved off, and I think that we are looking at possibly JT having a massive out after this season. I think JT is going to be sick of this. I think he's going to want to get out of here. I think that they can let him go next year for no money. He's on the books for a very limited amount of money next year. I think that he could easily be traded or moved to a different team. And I think Giddens might actually fall into some serious value. And not to mention, I don't ever want to bet on injury, but when has JT been fully healthy for the last couple of years, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And just to bring it up, JT's contract has an out in 2026 where he's just $2.5 million on dead cap. So it might not be a play where we see substantial work from Giddens this year, but there is a path to a future for him. And like you said, like Steichen and Ballard are both really on the hot seat. You know, it looks like they're missing on Anthony Richardson, and all the hype was there to turn him into Jalen Hurts. They've drafted Tyler Warren. You know, they haven't really utilized Pittman and Downs to, you know, their skill set. And I think that is capped because of what we've seen from Richardson. So yeah, I really like Giddens' opportunity here. Maybe, like I said, not this year, but next year for sure.
Yeah. JT's telling me that they were one win away from winning the division the last 2 years.
I think that says more about the division than it says about the Colts.
They're in the AFC South, and the Houston Texans were 10-7 last year, and Indianapolis was 8-9. I don't know if that's one win away from winning, to be honest with you, but I mean, they were 8-9 last year, and they were 9-8 the year before. So that's not where they want to be, I don't think. You know, their roster isn't that bad. They just don't have a quarterback, right? Hold on. Lucas Wright. Would you take Brandon Ayuk or TJ Hawk? Oh, Hawkinson all day, dude. Right? Like I mean,
absolutely, I would.
I think I would take Hawk without any TP, to be honest. I think I would just take Hawk straight up in that deal. Right? Like I don't know if I don't want to bet on Ayuk coming back and not being fully healthy for the entire year. I just don't think that at the age of 27 he's going to come back and be immediately producing for my fantasy team.
Yeah. And as we know, the Niners revolve around CMC. So you have Ayuk, you might have, you know, I'm a guy that thinks Purcell is going to take a step this year, but what about Purdy? Is that team's getting older? The O-line is, I don't think it's in the top of the league anymore. Like, yeah, I'll take Hawkinson, who's surrounded with Kevin O'Connell and JJ McCarthy. He doesn't have to be the alpha role. He can kind of just eat. Like, he's going to have those games where he's hyper targeted and then he might go quiet. But like you said, with Ayuk, he's got to come off that ACL this year. It might be a play to next year, and you don't know what can happen this season and next, and where Ayuk is going to sit on that 49ers team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I want to bet on the 49ers at all this year, and that's not really a testament to the team itself. I have nothing against the team, but I don't think they're really set up to produce crazy. I mean, I could be wrong at this point, but you know, Purdy is probably going in the season with, you know, the least amount of help that he's gotten since starting his career.
Yep.
And it's going to be tough. I think Ayuk's probably going to be out for the first 3 games minimum. I think he's going to start on PUP, and then, you know, he might be in game 4, or he might even have a six game PUP. I don't know. He might not see the first half of the season, and then it's going to take a while for him to get worked in. So at that point in time, you're talking about losing about 5 to 6 weeks minimum on this guy as far as production goes. And then he's got to have a long, it's just, you know, getting up to game speed is way different. You could practice all you want, but until you're gassed in an actual game, everything gets flipped upside down, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the path for Brandon Ayuk to get back to, what was he, a wide receiver 4 that one year? Like that's, or wide receiver 14, sorry. Like it's hard to envision him getting back to that fantasy value.
Yeah, I mean, and I love Ayuk, and I think that, you know, I don't think he's dead in water by any means, but there's going to be a guy that we are talking about eventually in the next pod, but JJ McCarthy's coming in. He likes to play that mid game. He likes to get the ball out fast. And I think that really, just it's a bread and butter when it comes to Hawkinson. And Hawkinson's going to really benefit from the way that he releases the ball and the fact that he's going in that intermediate range of throws right there off the bat. And he's also a year removed from his injury, right? Like people are a little down on Hawk because he was coming off of a major injury. And I think this is the year that we really see him coming back to form.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But is there anything else in this draft that you want to touch on? Any of these guys in the later rounds? Like we talked about this entire last 4 picks. Like if you guys aren't checked into Player Profiler now on the YouTube channel, but you can go in and you can find our video. I mean, we talk about Woody Marks. We talk about Giddens. Did we talk about Giddens? I think we do. Martinez and
we
Taj
talked
Brooks.
about and Taj Brooks. We talked about Merritt or Krosky Merritt. That's another guy that I've been seeing now. Yeah.
Krosky Merritt's not even drafted in here. I mean, Krosky is on Washington. We're talking about guys that are falling into these positions behind relatively inefficient running backs, and he's right behind Brian Robinson. I think Krosky Merritt, like he would jump Rodriguez. He might even jump Austin Eckler. I don't know, man. Like it's just, we are talking about somebody that is beyond cooked. He's going to have some good games, but he's going to want to not play a full season too, right?
Yep.
I
that's right. The opportunity is there. And I think that's what it's all about in these 4th rounds.
Yeah. And I think they plucked a guy that they could plug and play. And these guys are here for a good time, not a long time, And I think that's what we see with the NFL in general. They're taking these guys late. They're taking them in the 7th round, the 8th round, whatever, the Pachecos. They play with you and they get the most out of you. And then they're like, well, we'll just get another guy in the 7th round and we'll see what happens, And that's exactly what they did this year. So they're going to see if Brashard Smith can give that Pacheco a little juice, and maybe it makes Pacheco more efficient. Pacheco isn't a PPR monster by any means. So I think that they could be a thunder and lightning situation, and that could be fun. Davey Martinez, before we sign off, I love that pick in the 4th round. I think that we are talking about a backfield that looks completely crowded right now, but it's not. Like Kenneth Walker is fantastic. Kenneth Walker is one of my favorite running backs in the NFL. Kenneth Walker is also not healthy all the time. He's also in the last year of his contract right now, so I don't see him getting a new contract in Seattle, right? Like, do you see them re-signing Kenneth Walker?
I don't. Like, I think there's a new staff in there and it wasn't their pick. And yeah, if they went and drafted somebody like, well, they have Charbonnet who can and do the same thing that Kenneth Walker does, and then they go and get somebody like Martinez, why are you going to go and get that second contract for Kenneth Walker when you can just keep, moving along with these 2 new running backs? I think you just reset the clock and hopefully they have a little bit better luck with durability, and then you move on from Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about Martinez being one of the most durable running backs of this class. I don't think he's really missed any games, and the fact that he has that violent running style, I think that really helps him out and feeds into him. He's more of a Charbonnet than a Kenneth Walker by a lot, but I think we are talking about somebody that could spell, if we see something happen, we see Kenneth Walker move to a new team, we see Charbonnet work as the 1 and then Martinez work as the 2. And I think in that scenario, we see these 2 guys that produce RB2 numbers. And it might be frustrating a little bit, but you can also have a plug and play flex play from this guy in the 4th round. I think that that's a good thing to monitor because that system is going to be geared towards running. I don't think they're going to be throwing like they were with Geno. I think they're probably going to be running a lot with that offensive line getting a little help, and they're trying to build it up a little bit. And I think it's going to be a run heavy offense. You agree with that?
I do. I think that they're gonna try and run the ball a lot more. They're gonna try and put Sam Darnold in the best situations that they can, and I think that is keeping him more efficient and limiting how many times he actually gets to throw the ball in the game.
Yeah, you want to. It's just it's exactly what they did with him in Minnesota. You know, they put him in a position to win. Didn't make him do too much, and I think that's really they saw what they could do with Sam Darnold, and they saw that the fact that they can make him efficient if they limit what they ask of him. You know, and also I think it helps his case that they took Milrow. They could have reached on a guy like Dart or even Shador. I don't want to say Shador is more pro ready, but I think he offers them more of what they're looking for than somebody like Milrow, you know, right now, because Milrow is a great runner, but they don't need any running. They don't need that dynamic when they have two really good running backs and a third one waiting in the back right there for him to falter. So yeah, I mean, I think Darnold is kind of set for this year for sure. And they're going to play into his style. They're going to play into his own. So I think the running backs, you want to own all of these guys in Seattle and see how it plays out. Right. Taj Brooks they didn't take a running back in Cincinnati. They didn't grab anybody. Right. I mean, everyone thought Chase Brown was cooked. They were having all these visits from top running backs in the class. They had Travion Henderson, they had Keyshawn Judkins, they had everybody come over there and visit them. And then they didn't take anybody until what was Taj Brooks, 7th round, a 6th round pick?
Yeah, I think he was in the 6th. And you know, I said the same thing. Like I was banging the drum to get off Chase Brown because I didn't think that he was safe at all. And now you have somebody like Taj Brooks who can come in and he's going to be a serviceable backup for that team. I don't think Zach Moss is, you know, what he was the 1 year when it was in Indy and then he signed with the Bengals. Like I think Taj Brooks is going to be the number 2 right behind Chase Brown. And yeah, like I just think that there's so much opportunity there. I think Chase Brown's going to have to get breaks. He's going to have to, you know, again, not to say that you're worried about injuries, but I am worried about injuries with Chase Brown. I think Taj Brooks can be a really good piece for this Bengals offense.
Yeah, I mean, Taj Brooks, completely different guy. Taj Brooks is just like a bruiser. You know, doesn't have a lot of long speed. He moves a little better than you would think for his size, though. Like he actually does have some juice for a 240-pound running back, you know? So I think that you're right. He's definitely going to get some play in there. You know, he might be more of a goal line usage guy. I think he's going to frustrate Chase Brown managers. I think he's going to be used on the goal line a lot just because he's a big dude and people are going to love his blocking. I think he's the best blocking running back of this class. So, and that's different than pass protection. Like I think, you know, like Travion has incredible pass protection, but like this guy will go downfield and block for you. Like he'll be a second lineman at that point, and he'll work down the field and he'll be running down for pass plays and stuff. Like he's that kind of guy. And I think people are going to see it. They're going to see that he is that guy and they're going to put him on the field for sure. Like, I think he's got that ism. Like he is somebody that is always like 100%. He's the dog, and they're going to see that. So I think that dog mentality is going to have him on the field, regardless of the fact that he doesn't have a lot of like incredible juice. He's not going to like burst out of the pocket, or he's not going to like burst through the seam or anything, but he's definitely going to be somebody that has 100% all the time. So dude, there's nobody there besides him. I mean, Samaje Perine, are they going to have him as the RB2? I don't know. He's somehow he's still always the RB2 wherever he goes. I don't know how he does it, but like it doesn't matter what team he's on. Like if Samaje Perine's there, he's like playing. He's just there.
Samaje Perine's going to be the guy that does nothing all year, and then when it comes playoff times, he's going to convert a big third down for the team, and everybody's just going to love Samaje Perine again.
Yeah, he's always the guy. Like you would need a touchdown from somebody, right? And you don't even know what team Samaje Perine's on. Like you don't even know he's whatever on the Bengals or whatever, and you're like, yeah, like, oh, I need this guy so bad, and then Chase Brown gets subbed out, and then you see this like faint touchdown in the background when you're like changing your kid's diaper, and you're like, what the fuck happened? And it's Samaje Perine, and he gets a touchdown. And you're like, I didn't even know this fucking guy was on the team, but he's always on the team that I need the touchdown from. Samaje Perine's always on the team that I need the touchdown to win like a fantasy playoff game. Like, I don't care what it is. He's just a guy that always gets it. And I swear to God, it's like every year. I know that it's going to happen this year. He's going to be on a different team somehow. Something's going to happen. He's going to, he's going to take goal line work from Jahmyr Gibbs or something this year.
He was the guy last year that I went when Pacheco went down. I spent so much fab on Samaje Perine. And do you think I could trade him for anything? Nothing. People are like,
you better hold him though, dude. He's gonna have one of those vampire games where he just comes back to life. He's like Frank Gore, dude. I mean, Frank Gore, you were picking this guy off the waiver wires at 37, 38 years old. Like you were just like, well, Frank Gore's back somewhere. Like he's going back to the Jets or the 49ers. Like he was, oh man. Like,
no, I hear you. It's like you get the chills and you just know, you're like, oh, I better go check my phone. And there's a notification. Frank Gore's back or Samaje Perine's back. And they're going to steal some kind of work.
Yeah. GXRP was Will Harwood or Ty Felton. I like Ty Felton. I just don't think he's going to see the field at all this year, to be honest with you. I mean, in a super flex, like, man, I don't know, dude. That's a dart throw. I want to say take the quarterback. Yeah. I want to say take the quarterback because at that rate, if you hit on a 4th round quarterback, if you took Brock Purdy in the rookie draft or whatever, like good on you, man. I would say it's worth it because they're going to have the highest resale value. Like if you want to triple tap these quarterbacks that were taken in the 4th and 5th round, go for it, man. If you hit on one of these guys, they're going to be worth anybody that you're going to take over them. Like plus maybe a first or second, first. Like at one point, Brock Purdy was worth 2 firsts. I don't think he's even close to that anymore, but like when he took that job over and he was in the Shanahan offense and he was throwing to, CMC, Debo, and Ayuk, and they were all cooking at their peak, he was worth a lot.
Absolutely.
And you got him for free. You got him off the waiver wire. It took him in the 4th round of your rookie draft, right?
You did. Let's acknowledge this last question by K9 here. I really think this is a good one to talk about.
Would you trade Ayuk in 209 for Waddle in 204? Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, just that jump from 209 to 204. Yeah. I mean, you're looking at, we'll just go off this mock right now. So 209, there's still good value at 209. And it depends on if you have TP or not or whatever. But we'll just say like 209 is Cam Scatterbo or Mason Taylor in that range. And then you're jumping all the way into the Trey Harris, Luther Burden tier, you know?
Exactly.
So you could very well be looking at Waddle and Luther Burden for Ayuk, who we just alluded to not being on the field for maybe half of the season. Or he is, and he's just not producing like we want him to, You have to temper your expectations with this guy. He's coming back from a major injury, and then he's also got to get his conditioning up, and he's going to be playing like 20% of the snaps. Then he's going to be playing 40% of the snaps and 60% of the snaps. Like you were looking at maybe being out for 4 games and then needing another 4 games to be back to 80% snap share. Like it's going to be a long process, man. It's almost like a dead year at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think Waddle is a better receiver than Ayuk. I think he has more security. And we never know what's going on with Tyreek Hill, whether he's going to be on paternity leave or he's going to be getting arrested or he's going to be beating somebody up. But you go and you get that 204, like you go to a better tier, in my opinion. So if you can go Waddle and you can get a Jackson Dart or you can get Burden, whoever falls there, I think there's a clear difference in the 204 and the 209. So I'll make that upgrade. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if Ayuk's fully healthy, and we're talking about Ayuk versus Waddle. I think I almost prefer Ayuk, but Waddle's burned me so many times, man, and I just have I have a confusing relationship with Waddle. I think he's very talented. I think that he will never play through injury, so I think that he's a frustrating wide receiver to own and I think he also benefits from Tyreek Hill being there. I think if Tyreek Hill's gone, Waddle is lined up for that DB1, that corner one. He's seeing the defensive pressure that he wasn't seeing with Tyreek Hill. Like being with a one doesn't always hurt you. I think it actually helps you a lot. Like if Jefferson wasn't there with Addison would be playing against the top tier guy every year. And that's how you have to look at it. Like these really like having BTJ and Hunter together and them not really knowing how to game plan against these two guys is going to be awesome to watch, because we're looking at like they don't know who the one's going to be in any game. They have no idea how to line up against these guys. Like having two wide receiver ones on your team is the ultimate advantage. And the Dolphins had that for like 2 seasons, and that was really fun to watch for sure. People thought Tua was good, so that was really fun to watch. But all right, man, I think that's going to wrap us up. We're going to go. K9, brother, we got you, man. We appreciate all your questions. We appreciate everyone joining us today. If you guys need any help with your rookie drafts, you can always join our Discord. So the Discord is free and it is pinned on my X profile. So at Nerdboy Takes, if you jump on that, you can jump in there. You free of charge. You go in there. You can ask any questions you want. I might not answer, but I have a crew of guys in there that will definitely answer for you and help you out. If you need any help, you can maybe DM me. If I'm not following you, you might get lost in the ether, but I would suggest jumping to our Discord and having some fun in there. So there's always drafts, there's always fun rankings, different stuff going on, and we're just mocking and talking ball most of the time. So it's really fun, especially during rookie season, to get in there and just talk with us, and we can talk you through any trades or any help that you need. And then look out for our rookie profile that's still continuing. Took a little break for the draft week, but we are going to be starting that up next week. So I'm sitting down with the Podfather next week, and then also John Lobb. So John Lobb, both guys from Player Profiler. So if you're not following us on Player Profiler, and now that I have all you guys and I have that, let's hear a little bit about Player Profiler. So let's talk about the Fast Draft Origin Draft, because we did this whole pod about rookies, and I didn't talk about Fast Draft once. So that's on me. Hold on one second.
Rookie. It's all about rookie talk in fantasy football right now. So why not go use all that knowledge to do something other than a mock draft? Chris Jimino won $8,000 with just 2 teams last year, and each draft took 5 minutes. That's pretty good ROI. You can start doing rookie drafts for money today on Fast Draft. The Origins tournament is live. It is the place to go and monetize your knowledge of rookies, and use your favorite Player Profiler host promo code for a $25 deposit match. Now let's go start drafting faster.
Yeah, so if you jump on Fast Draft, you can jump into their Origins Chaos Draft right now, which is incredible. You're talking about good values. You're talking about going into drafts when you don't have any rookie drafts and just going in best ball format. You just plug and play these guys. If you don't have an account with us, go into Fast Draft and use our promo code DGEN. So that's DEGEN. Sign up and you get up to a $50 deposit match on there. So any deposit you make, we'll just match it. So it's really fun, and you'll catch me in the lobby over there drafting mostly rookies, but I like doing their flex 4. I'll get into their IDP a little bit. I'm trying to up my IDP game. I'm a Devi C2C guy. I do not know much about IDP, so don't ask me about IDP. I can't help you there, but and I still know these guys from following college football and grinding. Just, I don't know, I'm hitting the space bar with tape. I just broke down Jeremiah Love today, so I'm doing a lot of breakdowns in the off season, so that'll be fun to do. MadDog, give a sign off, man. Tell us a little something. Give me a surprise. Tell me something that I don't know.
Yo, man. Yeah, hit us up in the Discord. Rookie drafts are all live now, hopefully for you guys. So you're grinding that. My DMs are always open on Twitter, and I got some pieces that I'm writing for Player Profiler right now. The coach, Jeremiah Retzlaff, hit me up with some players that I got to write about. So I have been working on that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes for Player Profiler. We are dropping the top 100, so you're gonna see team breakdowns. I've broke down quite a few teams. I broke down the Indianapolis Colts, so I kind of gave you a sneak preview of how I think of what the season and what's going to happen. JT Brew didn't like that breakdown, but yeah, we go in depth in these guys, and we go in depth in the teams, and we're just going to tell you our honest takes of the top 100 fantasy players of rookies and everybody. Obviously, it's going to be fun to do new write-ups now with all these landing spots, but catch us over on playerprofilernow.com, or sorry, Player Profiler Now at the Twitter, and then also at playerprofiler.com. So we'll catch you guys next week. Thanks for listening.
Right back to business as usual. Straight out of what's under my cuticle. I blocked it, they picked up my coffin. Ain't it funny how